Our story today begins far away, centuries in the past, in the winding, narrow streets of medieval towns where life was simpler, yet far less clean than the world you know now. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a cobblestone road, the air heavy with the mingled scents of animals, smoke, and damp stone. It is early morning, mist lingering like a veil across the crooked roofs, and the world stirs awake in ways both fascinating and foul. Medieval hygiene, you see, was not what we might call pleasant. But here, in this soft moment, you are simply an observer, drifting safely through time, as though on a slow dream. The people around you do not notice your presence. You float unseen, calm, moving gently with the story. Their habits unfold before you like scenes from a play, curious, strange, sometimes amusing, and often, by today's standards, rather disgusting. The first thing you notice is the streets themselves, narrow and close, lined with houses that lean in awkwardly, as though whispering to each other, their wooden beams darkened by age. The gutters run down the middle, and into them flows everything that no one wishes to keep, from chamber pots emptied out of windows to scraps of food tossed aside. The street becomes a river of filth. Imagine the sound of it trickling, the faint splash as a bucket is poured, and the way people walk carefully, boots lifting high to avoid stepping into the mess. But no one seems to mind too much, for it is the way of life. They breathe it in daily, the mixture of smoke from hearth fires, the scent of tanneries working animal hides, and the pungent odor of waste. Your modern mind cringes, yet your dreaming body simply observes, as though wrapped in a bubble of calm detachment. In homes, cleanliness is not what you would expect. Bathing, for many, is a rare event. Water itself is often cloudy, drawn from wells or rivers where animals drink and people wash clothes. To immerse oneself fully is thought at times to be unhealthy. Doctors of the age warn that hot baths can open the pores and allow illness to creep inside. And so, the act of washing is often nothing more than a quick splash to the face and hands, leaving the rest to wait, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months. Imagine the heaviness of skin unwashed, the layers of dirt that cling like armor, and the mingled scents that rise when a group gathers in a hall. Yet, life goes on. Picture a crowded feast in a Lord S manner, a great wooden table groaning under platters of meat, bread, and spiced wine. Torches flare against the walls, shadows dancing in flickers. The guests lean close, laughing, speaking, their garments rich with velvet and fur. And though they look splendid beneath the finery, the same rules apply. Few baths, little soap, the same stale odors hidden beneath perfume or herbs. The smell is thick, but here, in this soft retelling, it feels only like a strange, distant dream. Even royalty cannot escape it. Kings and queens sit in chambers that glitter with gold, but their latrines are often nothing more than holes leading to cesspits below. Servants empty them when they can, but the scent rises, always there, lingering in the background. Imagine sitting upon a carved wooden throne with velvet cushions, while beneath, the reality of medieval life waits, unseen but never absent. And outside, in the villages, life is no cleaner. Farmers wake with the sun, pulling on garments stiff with yesterday's work. They step into fields, hands calloused, bodies already coated with sweat, before the day grows warm. Animals live close, pigs rooting, chickens darting, cows lowing, their waste mingling freely with the soil and the people. Children play in the same yards, their laughter echoing against thatched walls, their little feet muddy and careless. For the people of this world, it is simply life. To them, there is nothing unusual, nothing shocking. They sprinkle herbs on their clothes. They carry posies of flowers to mask smells. They hang fragrant bundles near their beds. Imagine the scent of lavender tied with twine, rosemary tucked into a pouch, soft little shields against the ever-present stench. And yet, despite it all, they endure. Humanity in its resilience finds beauty even in such conditions. Picture now a festival day, banners fluttering, bells ringing, crowds gathering in the square. The air is full of noise, joy, color. Children chase one another, jugglers toss bright balls, musicians play lutes and pipes, the same odors drift. But in the warmth of celebration, they fade into the background, unnoticed in the tide of laughter and song. As you drift through this medieval dream, you realize how very different life was, and how remarkable it is that through the discomforts, the dirt, and the strange habits, people thrived, loved, and built the foundations of the world you live in now. And so, you observe without judgment, letting your mind wander gently through crooked alleys and smoky halls, calm and detached, as though floating on a slow-moving river of time. The deeper you go into this world, the calmer you feel. Each detail, no matter how unpleasant in truth, becomes soft and hazy here, like a distant painting. The discomfort is for them long ago, while you remain safe, breathing slowly, resting deeper, watching their lives unfold with gentle curiosity. And so, our story unfolds, carried forward by the rhythm of footsteps on cobblestones, the murmur of voices in a crowded tavern, the creak of wooden carts rolling over uneven roads. You are there, and yet not there, wandering gently, dreamily, into the heart of the medieval world. The medieval world stretches out before you now, layer by layer, each moment revealing another hidden detail. The streets you drift through are not just roads, but living veins of the town, pulsing with the daily habits of its people. You pause, floating quietly at the edge of a bathhouse. Though you may imagine it to be warm and inviting, with steam rising like a mist, the truth is far more complex. In earlier centuries, public bathhouses were common, places where neighbors gathered, not only to cleanse, but to speak, to share stories, to find warmth. But over time, suspicions grew. Some believed bathing spread illness, that the water itself carried plague and fever. Others saw bathhouses as dens of sin, where temptation lurked among the steam. And so, slowly, bathing grew rarer. The wealthy might still dip into tubs filled with scented water, herbs floating on the surface, rosemary, thyme, lavender, crushed petals of rose. Imagine the steam rising, carrying with it a fleeting sweetness, a moment of calm. Yet even then, such baths were occasional luxuries, not daily habits. For most, the idea of bathing from head to toe was foreign, something done perhaps once a season, or less. Instead, the people turned to smaller rituals. You see a woman dipping a cloth into a bowl, dabbing it against her face and neck, wiping away the dust of the day. A man pours a trickle of water over his hands, scrubbing roughly before sitting to eat. The poor may have little more than a quick rinse in a stream, or none at all, trusting the air and the sun to carry away what clings. Their bodies grow accustomed, their senses dulled, until the heaviness of sweat and earth feels like second skin. Clothing, too, plays its part. Imagine coarse wool garments, thick and scratchy, worn day after day, rarely washed. Linen undergarments, when available, might be changed more often, but for many the same tunic, the same cloak, the same hose clings to them through work and sleep alike. Laundry is heavy labor. Water must be fetched, heated, soap made from ash and fat, garments scrubbed and beaten against stones. And so, clothes are left to carry the weight of days, weeks, sometimes longer, until they smell of smoke, of sweat, of labor in the fields. Now drift with me further, into the heart of the castle kitchens. Picture vast stone rooms, fire roaring, spits turning with great cuts of meat. The air is thick with smoke, and servants hurry with platters, their aprons stained. There is little thought of what you might call sanitation. Knives are wiped on sleeves, boards are rinsed in the same bucket, meat left in corners to wait, buzzing with flies. Yet the feasts are lavish, and no one questions what the senses have grown used to. And where does the waste go, you wonder? Walk now gently into the hidden places. Beneath the castle, cesspits fill slowly with what has been discarded. The contents of chamber pots, scraps of food, and worse. The air grows heavy as you drift past, a damp, foul presence rising from the darkness. In towns, the waste often runs into open drains, trickling into rivers where clothes are washed, animals drink, and children play. Imagine the sound of water carrying it away, mingling clean with unclean, until the line between them blurs. Yet, even in this, there are rituals of survival. People scatter rushes across floors, fresh reeds and herbs, layered to absorb dirt and mask the scent. With each season, new rushes are laid down, sometimes only once or twice a year, the old layers crawling with vermin beneath. Imagine walking across them. The crunch, the softness, the faint smell of damp straw and mint leaves hiding the truth below. For all its filth, life continues with joy. Festivals, markets, weddings, holy days. The people do not live in despair, but in rhythm, finding laughter even as the world around them is heavy with dirt. Picture a spring fair, the square alive with color, stalls of bright cloth, candied fruits, spiced wine steaming in cups. Jugglers toss wooden pins, acrobats flip, and the church bells toll. The crowd presses close, shoulder to shoulder, scents mingling into one living cloud. To your senses, it is overwhelming, yet to them, it is the heartbeat of life. Drift now toward the sick houses, where the odor thickens. Hospitals, such as they are little more than crowded rooms. Beds packed close, patients groaning. The air is damp with the sweat and rot, herbs burning in bowls to chase away foul humors. Physicians in dark robes mutter, placing posies beneath their noses, carrying canes tipped with herbs. To be ill here is to be swallowed by the smell of bodies, unwashed and unhealed. Imagine the sound of coughing echoing in stone halls, the rasp of breath, the clatter of buckets being emptied. Yet even here, there is gentleness. Nuns wash the faces of the sick with cool cloths, soothing their fevered skin. They sprinkle rosewater, lavender, chamomile. For a moment, the air shifts, filled with sweetness, however fleeting, and in that moment, you too feel soothed, as though drifting deeper into rest, safe in the hands of time. Consider, too, how they slept. In cottages, families huddled together in one bed, warmth shared beneath coarse blankets, the smell of bodies, of straw mattresses, stuffed with old rushes, of smoke from the hearth, all mingling into the night air. Children nestled against parents, animals sometimes close by, The night filled with the quiet breathing of many lives together. You can almost hear it now, the creak of the bed, the sigh of sleep, the slow rhythm of rest in a crowded room. And in cities, the taverns ring late with voices. Men drink from shared cups, ale spilling down beards, the floor sticky with years of spilt drink. Laughter rises, coarse and full, while in the corner a minstrel plucks a lute, notes drifting soft above the din. The air is thick, smoky, alive with humanity. To step into such a place is to be consumed by the heat and closeness of bodies, unwashed, unbothered, alive in the moment. As you wander through it all, you feel no disgust, only detachment, curiosity, wonder. For what is unbearable in life becomes soft in memory, blurred by distance, wrapped in the calm haze of a dream. The people of this age endured, they thrived, they laughed, they built, and now you walk among them, unseen, untouched, carried deeper into calm, into stillness, into rest. Your breath is slower now, your body heavier. The medieval world drifts around you like a tapestry of sound and scent, strange yet comforting, far yet close. And so, you let it guide you further, deeper, into this soft, unfolding dream of history. The medieval town lingers around you, alive with echoes of the past. As you float gently through its narrow lanes, you begin to notice the details of how people cared for themselves, or rather, how they endured without the comforts you know. Teeth, for instance. There are no gleaming rows of polished enamel here, no shining smiles shaped by brushes or dentists. Instead, mouths tell the story of life itself. Children's teeth begin bright, but soon darken with the wear of coarse bread ground with bits of stone from the mill. Imagine the grating texture, the tiny shards hidden in each bite, slowly scratching enamel away. Sweetness comes not from refined sugar, but from honey, and later in richer households, from imported cane sugar. Both a rare delight and a slow decay. Yet, people had their ways, ashes rubbed across the teeth, twigs chewed to fray into brushes, powders made from crushed herbs, salt, even ground bone. Imagine the faint sting of salt against gums, the earthy taste of mint leaves crushed between teeth. Sometimes it freshened, sometimes it only masked the truth, breath carrying the tang of decay, mingling with the air of taverns and markets alike. Hair, too, told its tale. Women often bound theirs in braids, coiled neatly, or covered with linen veils and wimples. Men wore theirs cropped or left to their shoulders, sometimes hidden beneath hoods or caps. Washing was rare, so combing became ritual. Picture the sound of a wooden comb, dragged slowly through long strands, untangling dust and lice alike. A mother stoops over her child, parting the hair carefully, searching for movement. Lice were not an exception, but a constant companion, combed, plucked, endured. And yet, beauty still mattered. Oils scented with rosemary, pins carved from bone or silver, ribbons dyed with rich colors, all adorned the hair, transforming the ordinary into pride. Perfumes, too, had their place. Distilled waters of rose, lavender, violets, musk carried in pomanders, small orbs filled with fragrance, worn on belts or around the neck. Imagine the soft sweetness of rosewater sprinkled onto linen, faint but soothing in the heaviness of daily life. But beneath beauty lingered fear. Disease haunted the medieval world, a shadow in every crowded street. The plague, most dreaded of all, swept through villages with invisible hands, leaving silence where laughter had been. Physicians, uncertain of its cause, clung to superstition. Some blamed bad air, miasma, they called it, and so they carried flowers, herbs, strong scents pressed to their faces. You may picture now the beaked mask of the plague doctor, stuffed with lavender, cloves, rosemary, worn like a shield against unseen danger. Others turned to charms and prayers, amulets hung from necks, words whispered, candles lit at shrines. Faith and fear entwined, offering comfort if not cure. And yet still, the people endured, always enduring. For each wave of sickness, life returned again, as if drawn endlessly back into motion. You drift now into a marketplace, alive with sound. The cries of merchants rise above the crowd, sellers of bread, of meat, of cloth. Stalls are crowded with baskets of eggs, wheels of cheese, bolts of linen. The air is thick, ripe fruit, dried fish, leather newly tanned. You notice the fishmongers most, barrels of herring and eels, their briny scent mingling with smoke from open fires. Cats linger at their feet, tails twitching, eyes watching for scraps. Coins clink, hands grasp, voices argue over price. You hear laughter too, sudden and bright, as neighbors greet one another. The marketplace is no quiet place, but it is life itself, the rhythm of survival. And in the shadows of the stalls, beggars wait, some blind, some lame, some thin with hunger, their hands outstretched. Alms are given sparingly, but always with weight, for charity is seen as a duty, a path to heaven, a penny dropped, a loaf shared, a prayer whispered, each act an offering, not just to the poor, but to the soul of the giver. From the marketplace, drift toward the church, its great doors open wide. Step inside and notice how the air changes. Cool stone walls rise high. Painted glass filters the sun into jeweled colors. Incense curls upward, heavy and sweet, filling every breath. The chanting of monks echoes, low and steady, vibrating through the floor itself. Here, cleanliness of the body matters less than purity of the soul. Pilgrims kneel, their clothes dusty from the road, their hair uncombed, their faces worn, but their prayers rise as fragrant as the incense, filling the silence with devotion. Imagine yourself kneeling among them, the stone floor cold, the flicker of candles warm against your closed eyes. As the service ends, you follow the pilgrims outside. Some carry relics, a feather, a bone, a splinter of wood, sacred objects believed to heal, to protect. They clutch them tightly, as if holding a shield invisible to the world. Others prepare for journeys long and difficult, walking barefoot, trusting each step to bring them closer to grace. And yet, for all the solemnity, joy thrives as well. Think of festivals once more, when music and dance filled the air. Picture ribbons tied around poles, dancers circling, laughter rising. Ale flows freely, pies are shared, and the whole town seems alive in celebration. Dirt and sweat forgotten for a night, replaced by the light of fire and the rhythm of drums. The deeper you wander, the more you see. A child rolling hoops down a lane, a woman spinning wool at her door, a blacksmith hammering iron in a shower of sparks. Each life small, yet vivid, bound together into the fabric of their world, and through it all, the scents and sounds, sweat, smoke, herbs, bread, weaving endlessly into one tapestry of sensation. And as you drift among them, you feel your own body soften further. Your breath grows long, smooth, unhurried. Your limbs heavier, sinking deeper into stillness. This medieval world cradles you not with comfort, but with rhythm. The rhythm of people who lived, laughed, worked, and slept beneath the same stars you see now. Let your mind rest here, wrapped in their world, safe, calm, timeless. The sun is set, and the medieval town grows quiet. The bustle of markets fades, the ringing of hammers silences, and one by one, shutters close across narrow streets. Darkness gathers quickly, for there are no electric lights here, no steady glow of lamps, only the soft, flickering dance of fire, candles, torches, hearths, holding back the night. Step into a small cottage once more. The fire burns low, casting shadows along the walls. Children sit near it, clutching blankets, their eyes half closed. A mother hums a lullaby, her voice low and steady, weaving comfort into the smoky air. The father stirs the embers, coaxing them to last until morning, for the fire is not just warmth, but survival. Without it, the house chills, the food spoils, the night presses in. The beds are simple, wooden frames, straw mattresses, rough woolen blankets, some stuffed with hay, others with feathers if fortune allows. Families often share them, bodies huddled close for warmth. Imagine the rustle of straw beneath you, the faint prickle against skin, softened by linen sheets worn thin from use. Beside you, someone breathes slowly, steadily, the rhythm lulling you deeper toward rest. But sleep, here, is not without its superstitions. The night is filled with mystery, with things unseen. People believe that spirits roam when darkness falls, the souls of the restless dead, fairies lurking in fields, witches moving in silence. To protect themselves, they place charms at windows, sprigs of rosemary, iron nails, carved symbols, a candle left burning, a prayer whispered at the bedside, all to ward off what might wander in the dark. Dreams themselves are believed to be messages. Some say they come from God, others from demons. A dream of water might mean good fortune. A dream of falling could be a warning. And so, upon waking, people recall them carefully, weighing their meanings like omens. Imagine yourself in such a world, where every flicker of imagination is a thread tied to the unseen. In towns, the night is quieter, but not silent. Dogs bark at shadows, hoofs clatter as a lone rider passes. Somewhere, a tavern still hums with voices, hail flowing as laughter rises, muffled by thick doors. But beyond the walls, in the countryside, the night deepens into true darkness. No lanterns glow, no fires mark the horizon. Only the moon, silver and cold, guiding travelers along narrow paths. And yet, people do travel by night, messengers carrying news, pilgrims seeking shrines, soldiers moving unseen. Their footsteps crunch softly on dirt, their cloaks pulled close against the chill. Every sound sharpens, the rustle of leaves, the hoot of an owl, the distant howl of a wolf. Fear mingles with wonder, for the world feels vast, endless, alive in ways hidden by day. Inside monasteries, the rhythm is different still. Monks rise even in the deepest hours, called to prayer by the toll of a bell. Imagine the low chant echoing through stone halls, each note a bridge across silence. Their candles glow faintly against ancient walls, their voices steady, unbroken by time. While others sleep, they keep vigil, guardians of the night, keepers of the soul's flame. And yet, even here, dreams creep in. A monk may wake from visions, unsure if they are holy or a temptation. A layman may stir, dreaming of fields and floods, of angels or demons. All wonder what the night means, and whether sleep is safety or danger. The rhythm of medieval sleep itself is unlike your own. There is no long stretch of 8 hours, but 2 sleeps divided by waking. The first sleep begins soon after dusk, deep and heavy. Then, in the middle of the night, people stir. They rise quietly, tend to the fire, pray, sometimes talk, even visit neighbors. In that strange in-between, the world is hushed, liminal, soft. Afterward, the second sleep carries them into dawn. Imagine now the stillness of that waking. You rise from straw bedding, the house silent, but for breath and crackle of embers. Outside, the stars glitter sharp, untouched by smoke or glare. The Milky Way arcs overhead, so bright it seems to spill light upon the earth. For a moment, the night feels eternal. Then you return to bed, sinking back into warmth, letting the second sleep take you like a tide. But even in rest, the medieval night holds unease. Fires may die, thieves may prowl, storms may rage, lightning cracks across the sky, thunder rolling like the voice of God. Rain pelts the thatched roof, leaking in slow drips. Families huddle closer, whispering prayers until the storm passes. And in the silence after, sleep returns, heavy, irresistible. Beyond the fears, there is also peace. For night is when labor ends, when tools rest, when fields are silent. It is the pause in a world of endless motion. And within it, there is intimacy. Stories told by firelight, songs sung to children, secrets shared in hushed tones. Night gathers them all, wrapping them in darkness like a cloak. Now let yourself imagine lying there, the wooden walls around you, the straw mattress beneath, the woolen blanket above. Outside, the night breathes softly. Somewhere, a dog sighs, an owl calls, the wind moves gently through trees. Your body is heavy, safe, folded into the rhythm of their world. And though centuries separate you, sleep binds you the same way it bound them. A slow descent, a drifting, a surrender. You feel yourself soften further, each breath deeper, each moment slower. The medieval night holds you, cradles you, and whispers you toward rest. The fears, the charms, the chants, the stories, they fade, leaving only stillness. And so, you too, surrender to the first sleep, a quiet tide drawing you inward, heavy, safe, timeless. The darkness begins to pale, just slightly, as the first faint light of dawn touches the horizon. In the medieval world, sunrise is not only a symbol of hope, it is the signal for life to stir again. In a small thatched cottage, a cock crows. Its cry cuts through the silence, sharp and familiar. Dogs stir, goats bleat softly, and the first voices whisper. A family wakes slowly, emerging from their second sleep. They stretch against the straw mattresses, rub their eyes, and reach for the warmth of the hearth. The embers have grown dim in the night, so the first task of morning is to coax fire back to life. Imagine it, bending low, blowing gently, coaxing the red glow into flame. A spark, a flicker, then smoke curls upward as the fire crackles once more. With it comes comfort, warmth, and the promise of breakfast. For most, food in the morning is simple. A piece of coarse bread, dark and heavy with grains. Maybe a little cheese or pottage. A stew left simmering overnight, thickened with beans and herbs. On lucky days, perhaps a bit of meat or eggs, but usually it is modest fare. Drink is often ale or weak beer, for water is not always safe. Children sip from wooden cups, wiping foam from their lips with small, rough hands. The air is cool, fresh with dew. Stepping outside, you see the fields glistening, every blade of grass tipped with silver droplets. The sky is pale pink, streaked with the soft gold. Smoke curls lazily from chimneys as neighbors also wake, their movements quiet, steady, practiced from years of rhythm. Morning is a time of prayer, too. In towns and villages, church bells toll, marking the hour of matins or lauds. Their sound carries across fields and forests, summoning hearts and hands toward devotion. People pause, bow their heads, whisper the words they know by heart. Faith laces through the morning air as surely as the scent of bread baking. For peasants, the day begins with labor. Men shoulder tools, hoes, sickles, plows, and step into fields. The soil is damp, cool against leather boots. Women carry baskets, tending gardens, milking cows, feeding chickens. Children help as soon as they are able, their laughter mingling with the cluck of hens and the bray of donkeys. Life is work, but it is steady, shared, and understood. In towns, the rhythm is different. Streets begin to fill with traders, apprentices, craftsmen. The clang of blacksmiths returns, hammers striking iron with ringing force. Bakers pull hot loaves from ovens, the smell rich and thick, curling through narrow alleys. Merchants lay out their wares, cloth, spices, pottery, preparing for the market's hum. Mornings are full of sound, a rising tide of life within stone walls. But there is gentleness, too. Children chasing each other barefoot through grass. Women washing clothes by the river, their laughter carrying on water. Monks walking in gardens, hands folded, voices murmuring chants. The world stirs not with chaos, but with rhythm. Imagine the feel of it, the coolness of the morning breeze against your skin, the faint stickiness of dew as it dampens your shoes, the warmth of bread in your hand, crust crisp, inside soft, the rising sun warming your face as you stand in an open field. It is all grounding, simple, steady. And yet, mornings also carry uncertainty. Weather shapes everything. A bright, clear sky brings hope for good harvest. A gray one means worry. Storms may come. Rain may ruin crops. Farmers scan the heavens, reading signs as best they can. Their livelihoods rise and fall with what the morning sky reveals. Inside castles, the mornings are busier in different ways. Servants rush through stone corridors, lighting fires, preparing meals, polishing armor. Knights and lords wake, sometimes to training, sometimes to travel, sometimes to war. Their mornings hold weight, decisions about land, law, and loyalty. Yet even here, the rhythm of bread, prayer, and fire is not so different from the cottages below. And across all these lives, the morning hums with voices, greetings exchanged, tasks assigned, laughter shared. People do not wake alone but as part of a living whole, tied together by work, faith, and the sun itself. There is something deeply grounding about this, to wake without alarms, without clocks, only the rhythm of light and dark, to move with the sun, rising as it rises, resting as it sets, a flow of life both simple and profound, carrying them, century after century. Let yourself drift into that rhythm. Imagine waking as they did. The rooster calls, the fire glows faintly. You stretch, yawn, and rise. Bread and cheese await. Water splashes cold against your face as you wash. Outside, the air is cool. The world is vast. The day ahead already filled with tasks. And yet, even as labor waits, there is peace in knowing that everyone wakes to the same sun, that the morning, soft and golden, belongs to all. Farmers in fields, monks in cloisters, bakers in towns, lords in castles, each one touched by dawn, each one beginning again. As the sun climbs higher, life fully awakens. The hum of voices grows louder, the clang of tools sharper, the rhythm of steps quicker. Morning passes into day, and the cycle of medieval life turns forward, steady as the wheel of time itself. But before we leave the morning, pause here in the stillness. Take one last breath of cool air, one last glance at dew shimmering in the fields, one last taste of warm bread. Let it settle in you, grounding you in calm, in rhythm, in quiet strength. For even now, centuries later, the morning can hold you the same way, a reminder of how life once moved, slowly, simply, beautifully, in harmony with the sun. The sun has risen higher now, spilling gold across the land. Morning gives way to day, and with it, the rhythm of work deepens. In the medieval world, the hours are measured not by clocks, but by the sun's position, by the tolling of church bells, by the flow of tasks. Picture the fields, first, stretching wide and green, furrowed with the marks of plows. Farmers bend their backs, hands strong, skin browned by years beneath the open sky. They push wooden plows behind oxen, the animals' slow steps breaking soil, steady and patient. The air is filled with the sound of clods turning, of iron striking stone, of voices calling gently to beasts of burden. Every task is shared. Men dig and sow, women weed and harvest, children scatter seed or chase birds from the fields. Work is communal, rhythmic, bound together by necessity. Alone, a family could not survive. Together, a village thrives. The scent of earth is everywhere, rich, damp, grounding. Birds swoop overhead, chasing insects, disturbed by plows. The wind rustles through wheat, bending stalks in slow waves, like the sea of the countryside. There is hardship, yes, but also a beauty in the flow. The body moves, the soil gives, the cycle continues. Elsewhere, work takes other forms. In towns, the cobbled streets bustle with craftsmen. Blacksmiths stand before glowing forges, sweat glistening, arms strong as hammers strike hot metal. Sparks fly in bursts of orange, the ringing sound echoing against stone walls. Apprentices carry tools, bellows pump air into flames, and iron takes shape, horseshoes, nails, weapons, plowshares. The carpenter's shop hums with a different rhythm, the rasp of saws, the steady beat of hammers, the scent of fresh-cut wood, tables, chairs, carts, even the beams for cottages, all take form beneath careful hands. Each cut is measured by sight and instinct, not machine. Each joint fitted with patience. Bakers, too, move quickly, kneading dough, sliding loaves into hot ovens. The air thickens with warmth, with the smell of yeast and smoke. Children linger near, waiting for a chance at a crust still steaming. In every trade, the rhythm is not just labor, but life, steady and grounded. Markets spring alive by midday. Wooden stalls line squares, filled with goods both humble and rare. Farmers sell eggs, milk, vegetables. Fishermen bring baskets of glistening catch from river or sea. Merchants offer bolts of cloth, spices wrapped in little sacks, pottery glazed in earthy colors. The air is full of sound, bargaining voices, laughter, the clink of coins. Here, the world mingles. A peasant might trade beans for salt. A noble steward might buy fine cloth for his lord. Travelers bring stories from faraway lands, tales of kings and wars, deserts and oceans. Children dart between stalls, faces sticky with honey cakes or fruit, and above it all, church bells toll again, marking the passage of hours, guiding lives like the heartbeat of the town. The workday is not all toil. There are pauses, short rests in shade, moments of laughter shared, songs rising over fields. People tell stories as they work, sing ballads to keep pace with labor. The rhythm of song matches the rhythm of scythe or spade, weaving music into the day. Yet labor is demanding. Backs ache, hands blister, bodies sweat beneath the sun. There is no choice but to work. Survival depends upon it. Hunger is never far, and harvest failure means hardship. Still, there is dignity here, in knowing that each task, however small, sustains not just oneself, but a whole community. Even nobles and knights have their labors, though of different kind. They oversee estates, judge disputes, lead hunts, train in combat. Knights practice swordplay in courtyards, their blades ringing as they clash, shields thudding with heavy blows. Horses are groomed, armor polished, banners unfurled. For them, too, the day is a cycle of duty, bound by loyalty, land, and law. Monks and nuns labor in cloisters and fields alike. They copy manuscripts by hand, letters flowing across vellum, each page illuminated with delicate gold. They tend herb gardens, collecting rosemary, sage, lavender, healing plants for both body and spirit. Their work is prayer made physical, each stroke of quill or spade an offering of devotion. As the sun climbs to its height, the world hums with effort. Sweat shines on foreheads, muscles ache. Yet there is order in it all. No one works alone. Each task feeds another. Each trade sustains the next. Fields feed towns. Towns supply villages. Monasteries preserve knowledge. Castles protect land. Life is an endless weave, strong because each thread is bound to the others. Pause here and feel the weight of it. Imagine standing in a medieval field, soil clinging to your boots, hands rough from labor. The air is warm, the sun high. Around you, voices rise in song. Hammers ring in the distance. Bells toll from the church tower. Life is work, yes, but it is also rhythm, grounding, steady, ancient. There is peace in this if you let it settle. A peace born from belonging, from knowing your place in a cycle much larger than yourself. Each day repeats, yet each day sustains. And as the hours move forward, as shadows shorten and the sun blazes high, another part of the day approaches. The time when work pauses, when food is shared, when laughter lightens the weight of labor, for even in the busiest days, there is always the call of the table, the warmth of the meal, the pause of midday. The sun now sits at its highest, pouring light down from above. Shadows are short and the air is warm, almost heavy. It is the heart of the day when labor slows, when tools are set aside, when the body calls for rest and the belly for food. Across fields, villages, and towns, people pause. Farmers wipe sweat from their brows, leaning on spades or sickles before making their way back to cottages. Craftsmen close shutters, merchants cover stalls, monks ring bells calling brothers to the refectory. It is the moment of midday meal, a gathering not only of food, but of fellowship. Imagine a peasant's cottage first. Inside, the hearth burns low, embers glowing beneath a blackened pot. The scent of stew lingers. Beans, cabbage, perhaps a scrap of salted pork if fortune has been kind. Bread, coarse and dark, rests on the table, baked days before, its crust hard but filling. Children crowd close, eyes bright, eager for their share. The family gathers, wooden bowls and spoons in hand, passing food with quiet gratitude. The stew is simple but sustaining, hot and earthy. The bread soaks up broth, softening in the bowl. A jug of ale or weak beer is shared, safer than water, brewed lightly, so even children may drink. This is nourishment, plain but vital, carrying strength back to weary limbs. In towns, meals are richer. Bakers sell fresh loaves, crisp and warm from ovens. Fishmongers offer eels or herring, salted or smoked. Butchers carve pork, mutton, sometimes beef, their stalls buzzing with trade. In wealthier homes, the midday table might hold spiced pies, roasted fowl, cheese, honey, fruit. Servants bustle, laying platters, pouring drink, refilling cups. Conversation hums, louder and livelier than in cottages. But beneath it, the same truth remains. A pause, a moment of togetherness in the midst of duty. Within monasteries, mealtime is sacred silence. Long wooden tables stretch down stone halls, candles flickering in tall sconces. Monks file in, robes brushing the floor, heads bowed. They sit, bowls placed before them, bread and vegetables filling plates, sometimes fish or cheese on feast days. One monk stands at a lectern, reading aloud from holy texts, as the others eat in stillness, listening as they chew. For them, food is fuel for service, their meal a continuation of prayer. Knights and nobles dine with ceremony. In castles, great halls echo with voices, banners draped from rafters. Long tables groan beneath roasted meats. Venison, boar, swan on feast days. Trenchers of bread serve as plates, soaking up juices. Goblets brim with wine or ale. Minstrels pluck strings or sing ballads, their songs mingling with laughter and the clatter of knives. Yet even here, amid grandeur, the meal is a rhythm, a break from duty, a moment to share abundance. The atmosphere shifts with food. Tension eases, laughter rises, stories are told. Farmers speak of crops and weather, craftsmen of trade, merchants of distant lands. Children chatter and giggle, their voices high and bright. Even in silence, like that of the monastery, the pause is felt, the body settling into warmth, the mind calming. After eating comes rest. In cottages, adults sit in doorways, letting the sun warm tired bones. Some stretch on benches or straw beds, eyes closing briefly. Children run outside, playing with sticks, stones, or makeshift dolls. In towns, merchants lean against stalls, chatting lazily, while apprentices steal a moment to nap in shadowed corners. Monks walk cloisters slowly, their steps measured, hands clasped, thoughts turned inward. The land itself rests. Tools lie where they were dropped. Oxen chew cud in shade. Horses stand still, tails flicking at flies. The only sound is birdsong and the occasional murmur of voices. Time slows, breath deepens, bodies recover. There is beauty in this rhythm, this natural pause. Work and rest balance each other. The morning strains muscles, the meal replenishes, the rest restores. Soon the cycle will begin again, but for now there is stillness. A reminder that life is not only toil, but also moments of ease. In richer halls, nobles may linger longer at table. Jesters perform tricks, minstrels sing of heroes and saints. Courtiers whisper news of politics or war. Yet even here, in splendor, the heart of the pause is the same. Food shared, bonds strengthened, life renewed. Travelers and pilgrims, too, find their rest at midday. Along dusty roads, they sit beneath the trees, unpacking bread, cheese, or dried meat from sacks. Streams provide water, cool and refreshing. Strangers become companions for an hour, trading stories of roads traveled, inns visited, dangers faced. Beneath the open sky, the pause feels even deeper, a gift of stillness before miles yet to walk. Sometimes festivals break the ordinary rhythm. A market fair at midday fills the air with music, dance, color. Jugglers toss balls, children chase ribbons, vendors cry out their wares. Ale flows, pies are eaten hot, laughter rings. Even in work's shadow, joy bursts forth, turning mealtime into celebration. Yet for most, it is simple. A bowl of stew, a hunk of bread, a shared jug, a moment of breath. The heart of midday is not extravagance, but connection to food, to family, to community, to self. Feel this pause. Imagine sitting at a rough wooden table, hands wrapped around a warm bowl. Steam rises, carrying the scent of herbs and broth. Outside, the sun glows bright, but inside, the air is still, calm. Around you, voices murmur, soft with contentment. For this brief time, there is no plow to push, no hammer to raise, no burden to bear. There is only the meal, the warmth, the pause. And as bowls empty, as bread crusts are eaten, as laughter fades into quiet, the day stirs again. Tools are lifted, shutters reopened, bells toll once more. The pause is over, and the rhythm of labor returns. But something remains. The strength of food, the softness of rest, the memory of laughter. These carry people into the long afternoon, through hours of toil yet to come. The sun shifts westward, shadows lengthen, and the day begins its slow turn toward evening. Labor calls once more, but in every hand, in every step, in every breath, there is the echo of the pause, a reminder that even in the hardest lives, there is space for warmth, for stillness, for renewal. The pause of midday has passed. The bowls are emptied, the bread gone, the laughter softened into memory. Shadows begin to stretch again, lengthening across fields and cobblestones as the sun begins its slow descent westward. The rhythm of life returns, steadier now, yet touched with the fatigue of hours already labored. Farmers rise from benches and doorsteps, stretching stiff backs, adjusting leather belts or woolen tunics. They return to furrows, guiding oxen once more, or walk into meadows with the scythes over their shoulders. The sound of work resumes, steady footsteps, the low creak of carts, the swish of sickles against tall grass. Afternoon work is slower than the mornings. The body carries weariness now, though the will remains strong. In villages, craftsmen return to their benches. The blacksmith picks up hammer and tongs, striking iron as sparks scatter across the floor. The weaver's shuttle moves again, back and forth, threads tightening on the loom. Carpenters saw, plane, and shape timber, their movements rhythmic, their tools sinking softly against wood. Merchants lift shutters, coins clinking once more as customers return, seeking cloth, tools, salt, or grain. The soundscape of the afternoon is different than the mornings. It is quieter, more deliberate. Children play less wildly, settling into games of stones, hoops, or simple songs. Dogs doze in patches of shade. Birds grow quieter, their songs softer, as though they too feel the weight of the sun's descent. The hum of bees continues in orchards, steady and soothing. Within monasteries, the bells toll again, calling brothers to their afternoon prayers. Cloisters echo with soft sandals as monks walk in single file, voices chanting psalms that rise and fall like breath. Afterward, some return to scriptoria, copying words of scripture by candlelight, their quills scratching on parchment. Others labor in gardens, pulling weeds, tending herbs, digging furrows for next season's planting. In all things there is order, discipline, devotion. Castles and noble halls, too, stir back to duty. Knights ride out to practice in tilt yards. lances lowered in contests of skill. Pages carry messages, fetch water, polish armor. Lords meet with stewards, overseeing accounts of harvest, rents, and taxes. Ladies of the household resume embroidery, spinning, or overseeing servants. Though afternoon is gentler, it remains filled with tasks that shape power, wealth, and honor. The light of afternoon has its own character. It is softer, warmer, casting golden hues across stone walls and fields of wheat. In cottages, this light filters through small windows, falling on earthen floors, lighting motes of dust that drift lazily in the still air. It is not the fierce blaze of noon, but a glow that signals the world's turning toward rest. Travelers feel this change keenly. On roads, dust glows beneath their feet as the sun drops lower. Shadows of trees stretch long, offering comfort to weary legs. Pilgrims quicken their pace, seeking inns, abbeys, or the kindness of strangers before night. Caravans halt for short rests, oxen chewing slowly, drivers murmuring quietly as they share crusts of bread and dried fruit. The afternoon is a threshold, still part of the working day, yet already leaning toward evening shelter. Children, ever tireless, bring laughter back to the fading hours. They chase each other through lanes, climb trees, or fashion toys from scraps of wood. Some follow parents into fields, carrying small baskets, learning through play the labor they will one day shoulder. Their laughter, light and free, weaves into the heavier sounds of toil, softening the weight of the day. Evening preparations begin quietly beneath the surface of work. Women gather kindling for hearths, fill buckets at wells, set aside vegetables for stews. Men mend tools, sharpen blades, store grain. There is a sense of tying loose ends, of ensuring nothing is left undone before darkness. The air cools slightly as the sun dips lower, though summer afternoons may still carry warmth deep into dusk. A breeze stirs leaves, carrying scents of earth, grass, and wood smoke. Birds return to nests, wings beating softly, while swallows sweep across the sky in darting arcs. The world itself seems to prepare for rest. Inside towns, the streets grow busier for a time. Market stalls reopen briefly, last sales made before night. Alehouses fill with workers seeking drink and company, their voices carrying down cobbled lanes. Bells toll in churches, calling people to evening prayers. Lanterns are lit, their soft glow a promise against approaching dark. There is a contemplative stillness to the afternoon, especially in rural places. It is a time of endurance, finishing the labor, holding on until rest. But it is also a time of beauty, golden light on thatched roofs, children's laughter floating across fields, the slow rhythm of animals returning to barns. Life in these hours feels gentler, more patient. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a village field as afternoon stretches long. The sky above is vast, pale blue, tinged with gold. The air is filled with soft sounds. The creak of a cartwheel, the murmur of voices, the rustle of wind in wheat. Every sight, every sound, every breath carries the weight of centuries of routine. Here, the afternoon has always been this way, and always will, a bridge between the labor of day and the rest of night. As the sun lowers, shadows deepen, stretching across furrows, walls, and paths. The heat fades, replaced by coolness that kisses the skin. Lamps are lit in castles, candles in cottages, torches along town gates. People gather belongings, tie off bundles, and slowly turn their steps homeward. And so, the afternoon wanes. Tasks are completed, tools put away, animals herded back to stalls. Fires are stoked once more, hearths glowing in readiness for supper. A final glance at fields, a last hammer strike, a closing of shutters, all signal the day's winding down. The rhythm slows. The great cycle of work, pause, and labor bends now toward evening, toward rest, toward the comforts of food, fire, and family. The sun, sinking lower, casts its final warmth across the land, promising both an end and a beginning. For with night will come dreams, and with dawn, new toil. In this rhythm lies the truth of life in those days. No moment wasted, no moment without meaning. Work and rest, light and dark, effort and ease, all woven together like threads in a tapestry, simple yet eternal. The sun slips lower still, touching rooftops and treetops with orange fire before surrendering to dusk. The fields darken, the air cools, and the first stars prick through the fading blue. Evening comes gently, wrapping village and castle alike in its deepening embrace. In cottages, hearths glow brighter. Flames lick at logs, casting warmth and dancing shadows on walls of wattle and daub. Families gather around, weary yet content, their hands washed, their clothes brushed of the day's dust. Pots simmer with stews of beans, lentils, or barley, flavored with herbs from the garden. Bread, coarse and hearty, is broken and shared, dipped into broth, or eaten with soft cheese. On special days, meat appears. A chicken roasted, a hare stewed, or fish drawn fresh from river or coast. The smell of roasting fat and herbs drifts through the lanes, mingling with the sharp tang of smoke. The meal is simple but precious. Children sit cross-legged on the floor, their eyes bright as they wait their share. Elders take their places near the fire, speaking softly of weather, crops, or neighbors. Jugs of ale or cider are passed hand to hand, laughter mingling with the crackle of the hearth. There is gratitude here, even in scarcity, for the harvest yet to come, for the roof overhead, for the company of kin. In towns and cities, the evening meal is louder, more varied. Inns and taverns fill with voices, the scrape of stools, the ring of mugs against wood, the smell of spiced meat, roasted fowl, and freshly baked pies hangs in smoky air. Merchants gather with apprentices, sharing news of trade. Soldiers boast of campaigns. Travelers tell tales of roads and lands beyond. Minstrels drum lutes or pluck harps, singing songs of battles, lovers, or saints, their melodies lifting above the hum of voices. Dice clatter, coins change hands. Stories grow taller with every sip of ale. The tavern becomes a hearth for all, a place where strangers share warmth and laughter. In noble halls, the evening meal is an event of ceremony and display. Long tables stretch beneath candlelit chandeliers. Platters of venison, roasted swan, or spiced boar are carried in by servants. Bread is finer here, white and soft, baked from sifted wheat. Wine flows freely, goblets refilled before they are half emptied. Troubadours sing, jesters tumble. Poets recite verses to please their lords and ladies. Conversation ranges from politics and alliances to tournaments and hunts. Knights lean close, whispering of honor and feud. Ladies laugh behind jeweled veils, fans fluttering as they trade secrets. Every gesture, every glance, carries meaning in these halls of power. Yet beneath all these differences, the cottage stew, the tavern's din, the castle's feast, lies the same truth. Evening is a time of gathering, of renewal, of togetherness. The day's labor is done. The night belongs to rest and fellowship. After supper, life takes a gentler pace. In cottages, children curl on benches or pallets, their bellies full, their eyes heavy. Parents tell stories of saints, of heroes, of old battles, of trickster foxes and talking hares. Tales pass from mouth to mouth, generation to generation, weaving memory into the fabric of night. Some families sing, their voices low and untrained, yet filled with harmony born of love. Others sit in silence, staring into the fire, listening to the pop of wood and the soft breathing of animals outside. In towns, the evening spills into the streets. Lanterns glow at corners, torches flicker along walls. Young men and women stroll in groups, laughter echoing down cobbles. Musicians play in squares, drawing circles of dancers who spin and clap, skirts twirling, boots striking rhythm. Merchants close shutters, locking goods away. Beggars curl into doorways, seeking warmth beneath cloaks. Watchmen begin their rounds, halberds in hand, their lanterns swinging pools of light before them. Monasteries remain serene, even as night falls. The brothers chant vespers in low tones, candles flickering in the darkened chapel. Afterward, silence deepens. Some read scriptures by dim light, their lips moving silently. Others retire early, their lives bound by discipline that marks each hour. In the stillness of cloisters, the night feels sacred, hushed, eternal. Castles, too, quiet after the feast. The hall empties, servants clear trestle boards, extinguishing torches one by one. Lords and ladies withdraw to chambers, guarded by retainers. Knights polish armor, set aside swords, murmur prayers before sleep. Pages and squires bed down in corners, weary from service. Only sentries remain wakeful, pacing walls, peering into the dark beyond, ears tuned for danger. The air outside is cool now, heavy with dew. Fields lie in hush, the wheat swaying softly under the night breeze. Animals settle, cows in barns, horses in stables, dogs curled at thresholds. Owls hoot from perches, bats flicker through the air in erratic flight. The sky deepens, stars wheeling overhead, the moon climbing silver and serene. For those who look upward, the heavens tell stories of their own, of hunters and maidens, dragons and crowns, painted in constellations. Night is not without danger. Bandits may lurk along dark roads, wolves prowl forests, fires threaten wooden homes. Thus the people close shutters, bolt doors, and keep embers glowing in hearths. Protection lies in caution, in community, in prayer whispered as beds are laid. Mothers tuck children beneath blankets of wool or straw. Fathers check locks before lying down. Security is not guaranteed, but it is sought with care. And yet, for most, night is gentle. It is a balm, a release, a cloak of rest after long toil. Dreams wait beyond the edge of firelight, carrying both fears and hopes. Some dream of golden harvests, of lovers' embraces, of far-off lands. Others dream of angels and saints, or of darker visions shaped by hunger, worry, or sin. But dream they must, for dawn will come, and with it, labor renewed. Evening, then, is both an ending and a promise. It closes the circle of the day and opens the door to sleep. It gathers families and strangers alike, reminding them of what binds rather than what divides. In the glow of fire, in the murmur of prayer, in the song of crickets outside, one feels the rhythm of life itself. So, the medieval world, at the close of day, bows its head to rest. Fields lie dark, hearths burn low, voices soften into murmurs, and one by one, eyes close. The cycle is complete. The night belongs to silence, to stars, to dreams. Darkness deepens. The last embers of hearth fires glow faintly, their warmth fading as families drift into slumber. The world outside grows stiller than still, as though all creation itself holds its breath. The medieval night has fallen. In cottages, men and women lie on straw-stuffed mattresses, wrapped in coarse woolen blankets. The youngest children curl against their mothers, soothed by the slow rhythm of breath and the faint warmth of shared bodies. Dogs, guardians of the home, stretch at the doorway, ears twitching at every sound beyond. The smell of smoke lingers in the air, mixed with the earthy scent of hay and the faint sweetness of drying herbs hung from beams. Sleep comes gradually, like a tide washing in. For peasants, night is both respite and mystery. It is freedom from labor, yet filled with the unknown. The forest is a dark wall beyond their fields, alive with creatures unseen. Foxes slinking low, wolves pacing in shadow, owls swooping soundless from branch to branch. The mind fills the unseen with stories. Every crack of twig, every rustle of wind against thatch becomes a whisper of spirits or a warning of thieves. And yet, behind locked doors, there is also peace, the knowledge that the body may finally rest. In towns, the night is broken by sound. Watchmen call the hours, their cries echoing through narrow lanes. 10 of the clock, and all is well. Boots scuff against cobbles. Lanterns sway, casting dim pools of gold. Cats prowl along walls, chasing rats that scurry from alley to alley. Taverns grow quiet, their shutters drawn, yet drunken voices still spill into the streets, laughter slurred, songs half sung. The marketplace, once busy, now lies empty, shadows pooling between stalls. A dog barks, a baby cries, a shutter bangs loose in the wind. Even in stillness, the town does not fully sleep. Castles, too, are cloaked in quiet, though their silence is guarded. Torches burn along battlements, their flames snapping in the night air. Sentries pace slowly, armor creaking, eyes scanning the horizon for signs of fire or foe. Within the walls, the great hall lies dark, its feast tables cleared, its rushes strewn with bones and crumbs. Lords and ladies rest in chambers, heavy with tapestries, lying on feather beds beneath embroidered covers. Candles, gutter, then die, leaving only the pale light of the moon. Pages and squires sleep lightly, ready to wake if their master calls. Horses shift in stables, stamping hooves softly against wood. The castle never slumbers completely. Vigilance is its lifeblood. Monasteries, by contrast, seem at one with the night. Cloisters echo with silence. Monks lie in narrow beds, their habits folded at their sides, their breathing steady, their dreams perhaps of angels or demons. The bell tower looms against the stars, waiting to mark the next hour of prayer. Even in darkness, the rhythm of devotion continues, guiding lives by the wheel of sacred time. Some rise for midnight vigils, chanting softly in the chapel, while the world beyond lies still. Their voices are hushed, but they climb heavenward like smoke, threading silence with the sacred sound. And all across the land, dreams unfold. Some dream of what they know, fields green with grain, children laughing, bread warm from the oven. Others wander further, dreaming of impossible kingdoms, where rivers run with wine, or of dark visions shaped by hunger, illness, or fear. In dreams, saints may appear with blessings, or demons may whisper temptations. Dreams are taken seriously, read as omens, messages, or warnings. A dream of teeth fallen, of flying, of fire in the sky. Such things are told and retold by daylight, pondered as signs of what may come. The medieval night is also a stage for fear. Fires may spark unexpectedly, devouring thatch and timber in minutes. Wolves may come too close to the fold. Bandits may slip silently into villages, stealing, burning, or worse, spirits, whether believed real or imagined, haunt the thoughts of many. Tales of restless dead, witches, or fairies cling to the edges of the mind, strongest in darkness. To ward them off, prayers are murmured, charms placed above doorways, crosses drawn upon foreheads before sleep. The night is sacred, yet it is also feared. Yet there is beauty in the medieval night. Step beyond the cottage, beyond the town wall, and look upward. The heavens reveal themselves in their full glory. Without the smothering haze of modern light, the sky is alive. Millions of stars glitter like frost upon velvet. The Milky Way, a river of fire stretching from horizon to horizon. The moon casts silver upon fields, rivers, and rooftops. Comets blaze now and then, taken as portents, their tails long and terrible. But for the simple soul who lifts their gaze, the sight is one of wonder, awe, and a sense of eternity beyond the day's toil. In this darkness, silence reigns more deeply than in any hour of daylight. It is the silence of the earth itself, breathing slowly. Only small sounds pierce it. The chirp of crickets, the croak of frogs, the bark of a fox, the distant toll of a bell. One can feel, in such moments, the closeness of the natural world, the sense that life and death and time itself move in cycles too vast to grasp. Night is both ending and renewal, a reminder of frailty and of eternal rhythm. And so, one by one, souls surrender to sleep. The farmer dreams of harvest, the child dreams of stories, the Lord dreams of power, the monk dreams of God. The world dreams together, though each life is different. All are bound by the same night, the same stars, the same coming dawn. Hours pass. The moon arcs high, then begins to fall. The dew thickens, silvering grass and thatch alike. Roosters stir in their perches, as though sensing the edge of time. The darkest hour just before dawn comes, heavy still, thick with silence. Then, slowly, the sky begins to pale. A single line of light touches the horizon, faint, yet undeniable. The stars fade, one by one, retreating as if in reverence. The medieval night yields, as it always does, to the promise of day. Doors will open, fires will be stoked, fields will be tilled, bells will ring once more. The circle continues, unbroken, and so ends the night, and with it the journey of a single day in the medieval world, a day of toil and prayer, of hunger and laughter, of fear and wonder, of silence and song. The sun rises again, as it always has, as it always will, binding past to present, life to life, in the eternal turning of time. You see, in the medieval world, bathing was not the comforting ritual we know now. Today we slip into warm showers with the soap and fragrant steam, expecting to emerge refreshed and clean. But in the age of castles and cobblestone streets, water was not always seen as a friend. It was mysterious, sometimes dangerous, and often thought to carry illness rather than wash it away. Imagine, if you will, the dim glow of a single candle in a wooden room. A large wooden tub in the center, half filled with lukewarm water, drawn from buckets carried tirelessly from a well or a river nearby. The water is cloudy, tinged with dirt and floating specks of leaves. It has been boiled, perhaps, if one is fortunate, but often it is not. Into this bath might step not one, but many people. A father first, then a mother, then the children. each in turn until the water grew murky and unwelcoming. You can picture it. By the time the smallest child was placed into the tub, the water was more a soup of dust, sweat, and soap scraps than anything resembling a fresh bath. And yet, even such baths were rare. For peasants, washing might mean little more than splashing the face and hands in cold water from a basin, a quick gesture to brush away the dirt of work before returning to the fields. Full-body immersion in water was uncommon, sometimes only happening once or twice a year. The idea of a regular daily bath would have seemed absurd, even dangerous. Doctors of the time often advised against bathing too frequently, believing that open pores from warm water made the body vulnerable to disease. They thought that washing could weaken you, strip away protective oils, and allow illness to creep in through invisible cracks in the skin. Picture now a medieval noble, a lady draped in fine silks, or a lord returning from the hunt. One might imagine them retiring to a perfumed bath to wash away the day. But in truth, more often they reached instead for fragrant herbs, powders, and oils, pressing lavender or rose water onto their wrists and neck to disguise the smell rather than remove it. The perfume became the bath, a mask layered over days of unwashed skin, and the halls of their stone manors would carry with them a mixture of odors: candle wax, burning wood, roasted meats, and beneath it all, the sour note of bodies untouched by soap. But in towns, for those who could afford it, there were bathhouses. These were lively, steaming places, more like taverns than quiet spas. Imagine stepping inside, warm mist rising, the sound of splashing, laughter, chatter echoing off the walls. Men and women would bathe together, sometimes in large communal tubs. These places were as much about socializing and pleasure as about cleanliness, but they carried risks too. For in the shadows where water pooled and warmed, disease could spread swiftly. Over time, whispers grew louder that such baths were breeding grounds of plague and sin, until slowly the practice of public bathing faded. As you picture these scenes, let yourself drift further into relaxation. Feel the strangeness of it. To live in a world where water was feared, where the sensation of true cleanliness was fleeting, the body grew used to its own natural scents, and people masked what they could not wash. Imagine walking through a medieval street where weeks might pass before anyone thought to bathe fully. The air would be thick with the mingling smells of life: smoke from hearths, leather from boots, hay from horses, and the unwashed skin of crowds. And yet, to them, this was normal. It was the world's steady background, unnoticed as we might overlook the hum of distant traffic today. And as you lie there now, listening, you can feel how curious and oddly comforting it is to know how different life once was. Your own soft sheets, the clean air you breathe, the easy flow of warm water from a tap. What was once rare and feared for you is a quiet luxury, always within reach. Let that thought soothe you, the gratitude of it, as you sink deeper into the gentle rhythm of breath. The medieval world, so far removed, unfolds like a dream behind your closed eyes. A dream of wooden tubs, steaming bathhouses, and perfumed halls. A dream where water was mystery and soap was a luxury. Rest with that image and let the scene dissolve into calm darkness until we step forward again into the next part of their world, where cleanliness met even stranger customs, the toilets and chamber pots of medieval life. Our story today begins again at the heart of a medieval home where the family prepares for sleep. But before rest, there is the matter of nature's call. The medieval household did not have the conveniences we know. There were no gleaming porcelain toilets, no soft rolls of tissue, no gentle flush of water sweeping waste away. Instead, there was the chamber pot, a simple clay or wooden vessel kept beneath the bed. Imagine the sound of its lid scraping softly, the awkward shuffle of feet in the darkness as it was pulled out and used by lamplight. In the morning, these pots would be emptied into the street or gutter, where the contents joined the refuse of horses, pigs, and countless other creatures. The streets of a medieval town often stank of waste, and the air was heavy with the sourness of neglect. In castles, there were garderobes, narrow stone chambers built into the outer walls, with long drops down into pits, or even directly into the moat. Picture yourself standing there in the still night air, hearing the faint echo of dripping far below. The garderobe offered little privacy, and though some believed the rushing air might keep smells at bay, it was rarely the case. Sometimes herbs were hung in corners to soften the stench, but the truth was unavoidable. Waste clung to life, and it touched every breath. To relieve oneself was not just a personal act. It was a reminder of the constant nearness of filth in a world before sanitation. And then there were the teeth. You may feel your tongue move across your own now, clean and smooth, brushed and rinsed with ease. But in the Middle Ages, there were no toothbrushes, no gleaming mint pastes, no floss to slip between. A cloth, perhaps, dipped in ash or crushed herbs, might serve to rub at the teeth. Mouthwashes of vinegar, wine, or salt water were sometimes used, but decay was common. Blackened, broken teeth and painful gums were part of life, and many carried the constant throb of an abscess. Barber surgeons, who cut hair and performed bloodletting, also pulled teeth, roughly, swiftly, without mercy or anesthetic. The sound of a tooth cracking, the muffled cries of pain, were echoes in the air of every town and village. Bad breath lingered, the sourness of neglect and rot woven into daily conversation. Hands, too, carried their burden. Soap was rare, costly, often made from animal fat and lye. Many, instead, rinsed their fingers in basins of water before and after meals, but the water was often shared, cloudy, and reused. Imagine sitting at a long table, dipping your fingers into a bowl that others have already touched, the surface rippling with grease and crumbs. It was better than nothing, but never enough. Illness spread easily, unseen and unstoppable. Fleas and lice lived in the seams of clothing, bed straw, and even in the hair and beards of those who never thought to wash them away. To scratch was constant. To itch was part of living. Comfort was rare. And yet, people endured. They masked odors with herbs, perfumes, or pomanders, little balls of scented material carried to the nose. They believed that bad smells themselves were dangerous, that miasmas of foul air brought sickness. So they burned incense, opened windows when possible, and clutched rosemary or lavender sprigs against their faces in crowded streets. They did not know of germs, invisible as shadows, yet they sensed that foulness held power. Their struggle against filth was constant, though victory was never complete. Now, as our medieval day draws to its close, picture yourself lying once more on the rough bed of straw, the night air cool against your skin. The chamber pot rests below, the garderobe nearby, the faint scents of herbs trying in vain to mask what lingers in the air. Your teeth ache, your skin itches, but you are tired, deeply deeply tired, for such was life. And life carried on. The cock would crow again at dawn, and the cycle would begin anew, with filth as familiar as the sunrise. And here, as you listen in the present, resting in your own clean bed, wrapped in soft sheets, you can feel the contrast. You are safe. You are warm. You are clean. The world outside your window is different, brighter, healthier. You need not fear the garderobe, nor the chamber pot, nor the endless itch of lice. You can drift into sleep with gratitude for soap, for water, for the comfort of brushed teeth and washed skin. Let this thought soothe you, as if fresh linen has been tucked gently around your body, carrying you deeper into rest. Breathe slowly now, in and out. With each breath, let the grime of the past fade away, replaced with the soft glow of comfort. Imagine a warm candle flickering nearby, its flame steady, untroubled. The medieval world is behind you, its filth and strangeness fading into shadow. All that remains is calm. All that remains is silence. You are safe. You are clean. And now, you may let go. Sleep waits, gentle and endless, carrying you into dreams where even the darkest streets are quiet, and all is well. Rest now. The story is complete. The journey through medieval hygiene has ended, and your body is ready to surrender to peace. Drift deeper, quieter, until sleep takes you.